Very warm welcome, good evening to all of you here who are joining us this evening. The Global Bharat Movement presented by SAP India in association with the TV9 network. Global Bharat Movement was essentially a campaign launched by SAP India nearly 4 years ago during the peak of the pandemic, during the darkness of the lockdowns. That's when SAP India launched the Global Bharat Movement. And it was an outreach campaign to the mid-market companies of India, the middle India of corporate India, so to speak. And as part of this outreach program, SAP India provided everything from technical expertise to mentorship to help companies with their digital transformation journeys. Because bear in mind, we all knew the importance of digital transformation, but we all hastened up the process of digitally transforming our lives. Challenges of the pandemic have gone away. The lockdowns, those problems, they've gone away. But we have new problems in the post-pandemic world. The credit crunch, look at what's happening with the tech sector across the world, economies across the world slipping into recession, inflation, all kinds of global headwinds, and of course domestic tailwinds and all the problems that exist in our domestic economy as well. Take the Global Bharat Movement to the next level. Make it Global Bharat Movement 2.0. The Global Bharat Movement 2.0 is the reason why we're all gathered here, ladies and gentlemen, which incidentally is premised upon 3 pillars. Pillar number 1 is a very important message, and that message is very simple. India is the most resilient economy in the world. What's more important to realize in the post-pandemic world is that India is the most resilient economy. What global headwinds, domestic tailwinds, India will continue to remain resilient. That's the mindset that mid-market companies need to operate with. That's the kind of confidence that mid-market companies should operate with, and that message is very important to send out. And if that's the message, it needs messengers. And invariably the messengers are as important as the message, if not more important. I come from the media and I can tell you that the messengers are very important, especially when the message is very important. And who are going to be the messengers? Thought leaders, industry veterans, experts who've done this time and again, who've seen so many iterations of technology come and go. Believe it or not, we've taken it all across the country. We began in all earnesty in the south of India. The inaugural edition of Global Bharat Movement Business Innovation Roadshows was held in Bengaluru about a couple of months ago. And we took it all across the south, the west, the east, the central and the northern parts of India. Why don't you guys have a quick look at this journey so far?
India is projecting a more self-assured version of itself to the world than ever before. Paving the way to this bulletproof economy are our homegrown businesses. Taking our growth story beyond key business hubs of India to emerging industry clusters across Bharat. As key industry clusters fire the growth engine of a new India, SAP India, in association with TV9 network, celebrates India's holistic techno-economic growth. Welcome to Global Bharat Movement, a traveling roadshow that brings together eminent business leaders, tech visionaries and practitioners across diverse sectors. After a grand start to Global Bharat Movement 2.0 in Bengaluru on 24th March with a keynote by the Chief Architect of Aadhaar, Dr. Pramod Verma.
India now runs world's largest direct benefit transfer program, DBT. 860 million people, 86 crore people have bank account attached to their Aadhaar.
The roadshow in the last 3 months has created many milestones across the length and breadth of the country. The roadshow received an overwhelming response from participants.
The 5 years that we've used it, we've interacted with SAP so much, and we've found out so many things about it and how good it is to the business. And why not move with like all the digital India movement?
2 months implementation, all credits to the team which came along with that. Their knowledge, in fact, it's what that helped. And it's a very good planned, like we planned months before itself, before we start all the operations, and great support from SAP also with respect to that.
We have migrated 5 major versions of SAP. This is the technology, and this is the SAP consistency. We found it, and we really like that. And we safely moved our data into newer versions.
The Roadshow is now in its last leg with the grand finale in the National Capital Region. Let's join the Global Bharat Movement as we pave a golden pathway for India's tech-enabled growth.
It's time now to understand the real context that we're all in. What is the future state of mid-market companies in India, and in context especially of India's own economic leadership? And to take us through that, I'm going to request Mr. Sushant Kishore, Sales Director, SAP, to please take the stage.
So recently, I have visited US and Japan, and you will understand that the impact of the war and COVID, which has been going on, there is a double-digit inflation in most of the countries. Like a Chroma or a Reliance Digital, what you have right now in India, there is a Best Buy in US. It's the biggest electronic retail store. And when I went in, there was a very few buyers out there. So the impact of the COVID and the war has completely taken those countries into a big double-digit inflation. Also the growth in Germany, they are into depression right now. But our country is withstood all this global issues, and we are growing at a good pace because there are a couple of things which has happened. The digital payment, I can vouch for it's the best infrastructure what we have in the world right now. In India, with past 25 years of presence, 8 of 10 customers of the manufacturing of the cars on the road is SAP customers. Over 100 plus world-class airports are managed by SAP customers. Nearly 700 million subscribers of mobile phone are of SAP. So if you look at the SAP growth, so in 2010, SAP was present mostly in the metro cities, and the organization who used to adopt SAP had a turnover above 5,000 crores. And mostly they were on-premise solution. In 2023, if you see, we have expanded in 63 plus cities across India. And we have more than 250 plus customers on ERP cloud, private cloud plus public cloud in last 2 and 3 years. And this is the boon which has happened. So since 2000, 52% of Fortune 500 companies are gone out of business. And if you look at from 1995 to 2011, 500 of Fortune 500 companies took 20 years to do a billion kind of business. But right now, if you look at a startup like Zomato, Swiggy, Paytm, they have crossed $1 billion turnover in valuation in just 4 years of time. Because they have thought in a different area, they have not gone in a traditional way, they have gone through a business with a business innovation side. So business innovation is necessary for survival. 4 years back, the Indian government has kept a target for moving our GDP to 5 trillion economy. And currently we are around 3.2 trillion economy, which is the 5th largest in the world. And in 2030, we should be at 10 trillion economy. And how is it possible? So if you look at currently, SME contribution to GDP is 29%. And in fact, this percentage is very much synchronized with our organization also. In SAP, the mid-market business to the SAP overall contribution is also around 30%. What SME need to do means, like your organization, the 3x large firms, it should be around 1,200 mid-sized company should move to the current size of the 3x of the current size of large enterprise. And those space which has been moved from mid-size to large enterprise, the small medium enterprise company should come and take that place. So if we do that, our and SME contribution to GDP should grow from 29% to 50%, and export from 49% to 70%. If we do that, we will be a 10 trillion economy, trust me, by 2030. Thank you so much.
Public cloud, a gateway for especially mid-sized companies to start their digital transformation journeys. And this time we have a duo who will be taking you through this particular session. Let me please invite Mr. Puneet Taneja, Cloud Lead SAP, and Mr. Rishabh Devgan, Customer Advisory Lead SAP.
Grow with SAP has at its heart SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud as the core ERP. And this offering particularly targets the micro, small, and medium organizations, specifically to eliminate certain issues that we had seen in the traditional ERP. So when I talk about running with industry best practices, I want to highlight that SAP has been in ERP business for more than 50 years now. And in India, we have spent a considerable amount of more than 25 years. And through that process, what SAP has done is co-innovated and worked very closely with more than 25 industries. And that is where the best practices of these industries are inculcated into the solution that we are talking about today. Now to talk about all this in a little bit detail and in an interesting analogy format, I would call my colleague Puneet Taneja on the stage.
Our public cloud offering is also ensuring your life becomes easy. With public cloud, we provide you a basic ERP where it's finance-led and you have everything available. That means your core systems are available for you. You don't have to set them up for you. Secondly, it's on the cloud, so you don't have to worry about ensuring that it's always up. The infrastructure is not supposed to be bought. And thirdly, and most importantly, you don't have to drive it. SAP will do it for you. We have the team with our partners so that you don't have sleepless nights, and like Sushant mentioned, you would not have to cancel your vacations. That's the promise that SAP gives you. These many products from this location and all that, so everything is available. From the point the demand planning is done, the production to costing, inventory, everything is available. And mind you me, like we have Rajiv Chowk, like we have Huda City Center, everything is connected. You will be able to get that thing in place for yourself. But then, even after that, having discrete manufacturing, you would want to have something for your own kind because you are a legacy company, you have your own data, and you want to make sure that everything works well. So we have those industry cloud apps. That means when you are landing at Huda City Center and you want to go to Sector 93 DLF, we have those rideshare companies. They come and pick you up. Or if you've parked your car, which means that you have your own system set up, we give you the integration. So we can literally help you with the inventory system of your own data. So that means life becomes easy. With that, that's my time. Puneet Taneja, Business Manager for Public Cloud. Thank you so much. I'll give it back to my friend Rishabh.
It is a tool of knowledge as well. So as far as the upgrades are concerned, there are new scope items which are going to be added very specific to your different industries as well. And this is where you get the information. There is an example that we have taken here for a project management kind of scope item, right? So if you see here and you further drill down, it even tells you what are the business processes which this particular scope item touches, what are the business users which will be touched or who will be part of this kind of business process. And furthermore, there is also an education portal embedded in this where you get to see the videos right from SAP and SAP partners on these particular new scope items as well. So no more worrying or thinking about a particular functionality, whether this is going to be relevant for my company or not. You get to see it very transparently. How secure my customer data will be, my financial data will be. Probably, you might have thoughts like, it might not get compromised or something like that. So that is where SAP gives a service level agreement of 99.7%, which means that it is legally and binding for SAP to serve you and make sure that your systems run without any issues like that. And that SLA is not guaranteed at one level. It is from the bottom up, which means your operating system, your database, and your application, everything is covered. It's not just one layer. That means in the hyperscaler, where your SAP applications are hosted, the operating system would be running perfectly, and on top of it, when you open the browser in any of your devices and log into SAP applications, they will be perfectly running. growing without limits. So we live in a world which is very fast changing, and the technology that is changing year over year at such a fast pace. So particularly while talking about it, I want to focus on a few concepts here. That is probably the first one is about selling something as a service. So this is something that is very, very, I think you would have heard it in news everywhere, and you would have heard it is the need of the hour today. So earlier what used to happen, we used to just sell products and commodities, and that is where the business used to end. But today when we talk about selling anything as a service, it particularly means that, in the same kind of business, you might want to open a new business venture where you are giving services as well, or giving your product as a service. Your sales order, your service payment terms, as well as subscriptions and pricing is all combined within one thing. So it does not mean that you have to open up different applications or different systems if you go forward with a subscription kind of model and your pricing changes. You probably are venturing into a new business area, and that is where you particularly require that subscription model as well, and that can be inculcated in the same solution only. When we talk about ERP implementations, the time to go live is the first topic that comes into our mind. Like as to, it will take certain months, it will take some years as well, and you might have had that experience in your organization when we used to use those traditional ERPs. But with SAP S/4HANA Cloud and Grow with SAP, what SAP has done through the industry best practices that I talked about and the fit to standard approach and scoping, where we made it transparent and predictable as to what you're getting, this kind of thing gets fed into a cloud application lifecycle management tool, which you can govern and monitor throughout your project lifecycle to see what you are getting into and what your solution would look like when you go live. So this helps in speeding up the time to go live. So there have even been times of go live which has been shortened up to 4 weeks. Cloud ERP is the base or the foundation of the organization. So that we say is the heart of the business, but that is not where your enterprise has to stop. It is a step one towards much more that you have to do. So there are industry-specific applications and sustainability applications as well from SAP on top of it that are offered beyond the ERP as well. Along with it, as my friend Puneet was also mentioning about the LOB processes, we have solutions in human capital management, as well as spend management and business network. So we have the largest network of suppliers with around more than 5 lakh suppliers live in this country as of now. My colleague in the going forward sessions will also touch upon this, and we'll talk about this particular solution as to why it is important and how you can look into that solution for your business when you look at new suppliers probably. So firstly, we'll focus on SAP Analytics Cloud. When I talk about the analytics portion, SAP Analytics Cloud is the business intelligence tool that sits on top of SAP S/4HANA Public Cloud, as well as other third-party solutions which powers your business to give you analytics capabilities from different lines of business. Kind of a demo where you particularly get valuable insights with a click. So you have your charts and bar graphs already, and you can see insights about how this trend has changed particularly in the past. So you don't have to figure out the data together by yourself. The system itself suggests you as to what happened and why this trend is upward if it is upward, why it is downward. So that kind of embedded AI helps your business to take you towards a further better decision making. I would move to the next use case. This one is interesting. How many of you know these two guys? Munna Bhai and Circuit, right? So I'll tell you a story here, right? Munna Bhai could not get the MBBS degree, right? So what he did, he joined particularly as a dealer manager in an e-bike company called Velotex. Now Circuit was not too far behind. He also joined as one of the dealer, particularly at Velotex, as one of the dealers called Summit Bikes. So Velotex is the particular brand for which Summit Bikes is the dealer. Now what happens is Munna Bhai is a little concerned when he goes to his dealer engagement dashboard, which has been built in SAP Work Zone. He sees a downward trend. He sees that the top line is suffering currently, and there is an impact on the sales. Now he has some ideas. What he does, he creates a poll. He creates a forum poll to get dealers' point of view as to what he should do to increase the sales. And that is where people suggest that they should have an accelerated payment discount program particularly, so that the sales can be boosted for the dealers. So for this, what Munna Bhai does particularly, he doesn't have a degree in coding either, right? So he uses the low-code, no-code capabilities of BTP platform using just the drag and drop tools and create a very lean application to offer discounts for the dealers. He looks into this application that Munna Bhai created with a low code, no code, right? And then he looks at a particular day, what kind of discount is available and applies for it. He sends it for approval, and the beauty is that this kind of application is directly connected to your ERP, to your S/4HANA public cloud as a solution. So as soon as he takes that discount, it is reflected through the sales orders in the main ERP system. The next one is tracking employee attendance. This is again another example where the geofencing technology and services from business technology platform are used, and particularly when an employee goes to a particular location, the GPS from the phone allows him to track the attendance and punch in and punch out the time. And lastly, I'll talk about automation processes. RPA or SAP Build automation does is that it deploys bot on your system, which does the same thing, scanning the capabilities like I showed in OCR, or a particular structure or a template in which your supplier or anybody sends that kind of invoice and feeds it directly to the system, so your people can be involved in doing something which is more value added and is non-repetitive manual kind of task. Thank you.
Securing your SAP implementation with ALM. And to take us through that, I'm going to invite up on stage Mr. Sunil Chopra, ALM lead, SAP India.
So we're trying to understand what are the challenges which a journey takes place. So there are practically two types of challenges. One is external and the internal challenges. The challenges which are in control of a customer and a partner. Let's say a customer starts to decide to begin the journey and identifies a partner. He selects a solution. Let's say he selects SAP as one of your partners, and at that point of time, he has a question in mind how SAP will support him during the implementation and like operations and adoption of the tool. So that's where SAP is trying to help, and we are looking at two types of challenges which a customer face. One is the implementation challenge. We'll assist you with like a customer support manager, or we will help you with a premium support if you are intent to. Second is there is frequent scope changes. Third is there are multiple systems which are there which needs to be integrated that causes a lot of hackle. And lastly, there is a lack of visibility during the implementation side. The second area which we are trying to address is the operational challenges. Is once the system is live, you do not have the current system does not support any alerts monitoring which within the tool which alerts you if there is any anomalies, how you address them, do a root cause analysis. Then you do not look at the root cause analysis of that tool. You look at the event calendar. The SLAs, you do not have a track of the SLAs, how the system is working. And lastly, the system is not proactive, it's mostly reactive. That's where SAP is come up with a monitoring tool which we call SAP Cloud ALM. It helps you monitor both these stages. And we are trying to help customers in this process. This is a cloud version where you will be able to get help from this monitoring tool end to end, whether it's your on-prem or a cloud solution or a hybrid solution. It manages both all the landscapes which you have currently. There are different stages, as you know, in the implementation, which is design, build, test, and deploy stage, where SAP Cloud ALM comes into picture, where it helps in all these stages. And the second area is it helps in the operations, where you can detect the incidents, you can analyze, you can correct the problems, and you also automate the processes during the operation stage. If I go individually to the implementation side, these are the areas it helps you. One, it comes along with best practices which each solution has to offer. It helps you plan the project teams, what kind of assignments has to be assigned to the project and tasks. Then this follows the agile and the activate methodology in the tool. It has a test automation, a manual test automation which you can plan easily. It helps you manage the change management. It also helps you during the release orchestrations. This is on the implementation side. And the operation side, as I mentioned, the health of our system, it gives you a lot of alert monitoring capability. You are able to analyze the root cause analysis. Collaboration is seamless. Sharing of data is seamless. It also gives you a lot of intelligent alerts. AI/ML capability is built in. So we introduced this tool in 2020 December. In first 19 months, we had 1,000 customers. The next 1,000 came in 7 months, and last 4 months we have about 1,000 customers onboarded on this tool and actively using this. And we are targeting about 5,000 customers by the end of this year. As I mentioned, it is free of cost to you. It comes along with your subscription. It comes with 8 GB of space, and the API integrations are bundled along with this. Second, it supports all of the SAP solutions and non-SAP monitoring also. So if you have any other solution you are trying to implement and monitor also, it gives the capability through API, you can manage this tool. And lastly, the delivery model is, as you know, it's a cloud delivery, and it can be provisioned in just 15 minutes. And to consume this tool, it takes about 2 hours for implementation, and 1 or 2 days for operations, a person to understand the tool and operate the tools. Thank you.
Significance of intelligent spend management in the contemporary business world is our next session, ladies and gentlemen. And to take us through that, we have Mr. Pradeep Kumar, Business Director, Intelligent Spend and Business Network, SAP India.
So in the last 3-4 years, we would have seen, and you agree with me that, that we have seen various challenges in the spend management. There have been the suppliers' power, which we have realized that suppliers were valued a lot any time, in past it was more than any time ever. Threat of the new entrants, we have seen small companies growing up and taking it a challenge to compete with the large stabilized organizations. Let me tell you that how you can build more resilient supply chain. The word resilient has been into buzz for quite some time. What does it mean? That how we are actually making a continuous supply chain, that we know that from where we are buying, is that supplier sustainable, is it ESG compliant, do we know his suppliers? Only single digit percentage of the suppliers of the companies, they know that who are their third tier suppliers. They don't have a visibility who are the suppliers to their suppliers. And the impact it has on supply chain is that when the suppliers of your suppliers stop supplying, it impacts you directly. Yeah, the system which I'm going to present you, it will focus on 3 major areas: how you can do a better supply chain collaboration, how you can increase your profitability, and how you can bring your supply chain model to be a more sustainable model. Yeah. Here on this slide, what you see that the critical areas of supply chain collaboration, supplier management being one of them, sourcing and contract being second one of them. They are strategic functions of procurement, buying and delivering, where you are receiving the material, and invoice and pay, how you pay, how early you pay, and how much you pay to their suppliers, and how happy are they with your payment portfolio, like payment trends. Some of the critical challenges of a CFO: savings in procurement, cost effectiveness, how am I doing on the cash flow, do we have a live reporting of our invoices? These are some of the things which are every day in, day out, they are discussed at the CFO's table. About, if we talk about the Chief Digital Officer or Chief Information Officer, like what he's most worried about, that my data should be sacrosanct, my unauthorized access to the system should not be there, and there should be as less as possible human touch in the processes. The approvals should be not touched, yeah, and seamless data between the systems. Suppliers, very important. SAP has had already a concept of called supplier portal, but it has been more famous and more streamlined in recent couple of years, which is called Digital Supplier Network. It's a global platform, and my friend Rishabh was telling that this global platform of business network has 6.7 million global suppliers, covering all the categories, including RM as well. 6 lakh of suppliers are active from India's region itself, which means that the portal, if you activate that for your suppliers, maybe 20-30% of them would already be using it for your other customers, similar to you. Yeah. So this is the complete intelligent spend portfolio. And let me tell you, all these solutions are well gelled up with the SAP S/4HANA or ECC core system. They have native integrations available without the need of any additional middleware. They are inbuilt with the cloud integration gateway, which is kind of a middleware layer. We divide them into 4 major categories, the blue ones: sourcing and contract, which is upstream. You negotiate with the suppliers in sourcing, then you sign a contract. Supplier onboarding is you send a questionnaire just like a passport application. The user fills it. Because the user fills it, it is utmost correct. There's no mistake in it because he's giving a disclaimer that he's putting it in correct. All this data comes to you for your approvals. Your AP team, buying team, legal team, all these teams approve it, and then this data gets synced up in the SAP system. This is a slide which gives you an idea of the sample categories, and you see in green on the right top that 2 to 12% of additional savings you can generate, and this is just a sample of these, I would say, the categories. There could be more. How we work, we collect your top 10, top 20 spend categories, and you can basically see an ROI on this and how much it will give back to you. Since the invoice mainly is coming from the supplier, now he is doing this invoice with a PO flip, whether it is a goods or a service, and he has the portal himself. He's not creating in any other system, he's creating it live by doing your PO flip, because this system is connected with your core SAP system or core ERP system per se, because it works with non-SAP as well. Now since he is creating it, he is aware of all the errors on his side itself, whether he is putting some wrong GST in the buyer or the supplier or B2B or B2C, all those e-invoicing parameters, if he's putting something wrong, this gets rectified at his end only. It does not even come and create a junk in your system. And you see on top that, the companies can achieve a percentage of 98% up to. We have customers in India who have achieved all their thousands of supplier online this platform, and they are streamlining their AP cycle, and the AP cycle reduces in weeks to days. Now this is the way forward. You can tell us how we can build a use case for you, and the spend categories, how we can analyze it for you, and how we can tell you that this is the savings potential which you have in your procurement. The one good thing also to add, not to miss, is that the digital supplier network has a live connectivity with the IRP. So the MSME suppliers can create e-invoice also without any additional utility on it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pradeep, for that. We're going to move on to the centerpiece of this entire evening, which is going to be a panel discussion. Call out the special gentlemen who are going to be part of this panel discussion, requesting all of you to give them a huge round of applause. Beginning with Shinu Sekri, Director Solution Sales, Microsoft. Mr. Raghunath Kataria, CIO, Rico Industry. Parna Ghosh, CIO, UNO Media. And Mr. Sudhesh Sharma, CIO, Signature Global. Microsoft is now a leader in the generative AI space. And in fact, Microsoft's generative AI technology is used by SAP globally as well. Talk to us about how this particular partnership came about.
Yes, absolutely. I think the buzzword for 2023 is generative AI. AI has been here for a long time, but I think generative is the capability for the technology to generate text, images, codes, etc. And that's what the buzzword is. And just to give you a context, the ChatGPT was announced in January this year. And it took only 2 months for this commercial application to have 100 million users. Such is the pace of this innovation. So Microsoft partnered with OpenAI sometime last year, and we invested significantly. And the objective and the mission statement of Microsoft is to empower every organization and every person on the planet to do more. And this partnership is exactly that. It is democratization of technology. And there are 3 core models. The first core model is GPT. You rightly said GPT-4. There was a 3, there's a 3.5, and now it's GPT-4. So that's basically your conversational technology, how you converse, and ChatGPT is developed on that. Then the second generative model that was developed is very interesting. It's called DALL-E, which is basically converting your natural language into images. So try that as well if you've not tried it. Extremely interesting. And the third one, which is very, very interesting, and it boosts the productivity of organizations which are developer heavy, is Codex. Codex actually helps you generating codes much, much, much faster. So these are the 3 generative AI technologies that we've partnered on. Now talking about our integration and how we've partnered with SAP, I think the biggest partnership is with SuccessFactors, where we've done 2 things. The first one is recruitments. So as we all know, right, recruitments is not easy. The task can get very mundane. So we built our generative AI models on SAP SuccessFactors, which helps the recruiters in 2 ways. It helps them create the most perfect job descriptions. And the second is when an interviewer or a recruiter is taking an interview through Teams, the prompts, the questions come out to the interviewer basis the resume, the profile, etc. And after the interview is completed, you manually don't have to go and fill how the interview went or the feedback. It takes it on its own.
From UNO Minda's perspective, how do you integrate technology, into your business, into expanding your business or scaling up your business? What does technology and all these rapid changes in technology mean for you and your company?
Now, when we say transformation, I don't think many of the organizations today is doing transformation, especially the automotive sector. We are especially still busy in doing digitization or digitalization, which is changing the processes to match to the market expectations or customer expectations. So digital transformation is happening, especially in the fintech world or in the BFSI world, technology world, consulting your organization and stuff like that. We started the journey from last 5 years on heavy amount of digitization and digitalization, especially on finance, then HR, and obviously we have done the S4 HANA when people were struggling to do that in 2017. And then we embarked the journey upon materials, functional digitization. We have a SAP-backed supplier portal which has 1,000 suppliers working on that. And then we embarked the journey on marketing side, where is RFQ automation, budgeting, and long-term planning automation we had. I will say digital transformation is way to go.
Mr. Raghunath Katare, if I were to ask you, first of all, talk to us about what does your company do? What does ERP in a time of constantly changing technology mean?
In RICO, we started our journey, especially in SAP, in 2005. It was initial, and I think we were the initial one who adopted in auto industry the SAP. And from the day we added SAP in our journey, so one point is freezed. Yes, we have a system, ERP. So earlier, the ERP was the only tool to get the data. But in today's world, it is the basic need. So we have to enable ourselves towards the journey of like graphics, so make the decisions. In RICO, we have started our Industry 4.0 journey. In last 2.5 years, we are working on it. And from man to machine, and from so many, we have taken so many initiatives. And SAP HANA is one of them. Industry 4.0, we have connected our machine to the clouds, and we take the decision on that.
What does technology mean? What does digital transformation mean?
In the Signature Global, we have started the journey of transformation this last year only with the SAP Rise. Earlier, it's on a legacy only for the accounting part, and now things are on the more on the compliance and the governance part, like the budgetary control and others. Now, from the technology perspective, this industry is slightly different from the auto sector and the other sectors. So for us, the engagement with the customer is more, for a minimum of a 4 and more year. Now the pre-sale and the post-sale activity. And customer is basically from the purely B2C segment. It's a mindset, but it takes good time. But in this real estate, we are using this. I am considering this industry more like a fintech.
आपका डैशबोर्ड क्या कहता है, and also the importance of dashboards for a company like you.
मेरा जो प्रोसेस का डिले है,
हाँ.
whether it is on the supply chain or it is on the customer payment में और constructions उसमें, वो कहाँ पर है? Whatever the red या जो red होने वाला है, predictive, yellow है. So that is the only thing. And from the IT perspective, there is a dashboard of your all uptime devices. That is only required. That is now that required on this real time.
Closing comments from Microsoft's perspective. Tell us, what does the future hold?
So I think I'll just say two lines, right? One is, businesses now will be technology-led, which means that technology will enable businesses to take the right decisions, and that's through the power of data. And the other is, technology will enable do more with less. And I think that's what is top of mind for all of you here and everybody here. How do we ensure that we are optimizing and at the same time doing more with less?
We're just wrapping up the panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen. Huge round of applause for all the panelists. Let me invite up on stage the next session, and that is helping customers grow with SAP, the Grant Thornton way. And to take us through the session, I'm going to invite Mr. Saket Mehra, partner, Grant Thornton, and Mr. Amit Gupta, partner, Grant Thornton.
Just a brief about our firm, Grant Thornton. We are a public advisory firm. In India, we are almost 8,000 plus people, focusing more on the mid-market as well as on the large market clients, effectively delivering solutions, addressing their needs around people, process, and technology, as we heard from the previous session as well. And when it comes to advisory solutions, technology plays a very, very significant role, and that's where we kind of collaborate with partners like SAP, and we are proud to be the resellers as well as the implementation partners for SAP in India. You know, as a risk management professional, what we have seen over the years, the risk landscape, which impacts us both internally, externally, has undergone a significant shift. And thanks to all the global events that we have seen over the last few years, plus the cybersecurity breaches, we have seen data privacy issues, we've also seen issues around climate change. All this has led to a significant change in the way the organizations look at risk in these times. When I say that there is a change in the risk landscape, the companies have been adopting mitigation strategies to make sure that yes, there is effective risk management, and not only management but also risk identification. Data is, or I would say data governance is one of the key challenges which need to be addressed by the companies, and SAP does it beautifully. That's what we have seen where our clients are using SAP for better data governance. But yes, there are 2-3 aspects which need to be considered when we talk about data governance. One is that there has to be a SPOC, there has to be a sponsor, which in my experience generally gets missed out in many organizations as to define who is the SPOC for the data governance. Second is, how do we define those data models? You know, what kind of data models get defined? And this can only happen if we have a proper data classification. The other aspect which often we get asked by the stakeholders again is that, is the organization having a right or a holistic view about the risk which impacts the organization, which could be both internal as well as external risk. And that's where many companies have, though they have devised a risk management framework, but again, in our experience, in majority of the companies that we have been advising on, those kind of frameworks remain on a spreadsheet. So imagine today when we are talking about digitization to digitalization, many companies are still kind of maintaining or managing their risk over the spreadsheets. Now that's where again the solution comes from SAP, and we have seen in few companies this solution working absolutely fantastically with respect to managing, identifying as well as prioritizing those risks. So solutions around risk management, process control, which is more in terms of what kind of controls exist at a process level. When I break down any business process, let's say procurement as one of the most commonly used process, there are different sub-processes around order management, material receiving process, vendor payments which need to happen. Now how those individual risks within each of those sub-processes are being managed against the controls which have been laid down by the organizations can very well be captured within the SAP process control module and can be managed and monitored more effectively. I would just like to summarize my thoughts to say that As an key people within the organization, we are equally responsible to identify the risk which our organization is exposed of, and also to make sure that yes, the technology that we are using, the ERP, SAP, which is being used most commonly, we are availing all the features that are available to help us mitigate the risk that we face on a day-to-day basis. So with this, I would like to hand it over to my colleague Amit Gupta to share more views and insights on this journey. Thank you very much.
We help all the companies, be it companies who have already got SAP implemented. So if you are looking more value from your SAP installation, if you're looking to do process optimization, you're looking for custom solutions around SAP, or if you're looking for upgrade, there are many customers even in the hall today. So they are planning to move to SAP Cloud or plan to move to SAP S4HANA. So we can help you through that journey as well as to what all features are relevant for you. If you should go for cloud, you should not go for cloud. What are the benefits if you have to go to SAP Cloud? We are an organization which help you from the start of the evaluation process till the when you go live. So we implement, we help you in the evaluation, we implement, and then we also help you make the best use of SAP installation. Next, if you're also looking for SAP implementation, then most of the times people struggle, as I said, get the data out of system. So if you have already implemented SAP and then later you realize most of the times when you plan for SAP and business intelligence system, so you are told that business intelligence system should be planned in second phase. And because in the first phase you may not have the data, but later when you actually go to implement business intelligence systems, you realize that your ERP installation was not done to support your business intelligence requirements, and that's where the difference that we bring. So the implementation that we do, we start tracking KPIs from day one. So whenever we are doing the design documents, even for your processes, so we identify all the business challenges, and basis the business challenges, we identify the KPIs. So those KPIs are maintained and identified at the they are identified at the design document stage, and then later we maintain those KPIs throughout the implementation. So to make sure that your system would support the data analytics requirements. We also have presence in more than 135 countries, so that helps us giving the global support for customers who are present in multiple countries. So if you're looking for support, let's say in Europe, US, Indonesia, Southeast Asia, any of those countries, Middle East, if you have operations, we have team to support you. So you don't have to go to multiple partners. It's just one implementation partner who can support you across the geographies. Of course, the team carries enough experience across SAP modules, across SAP solutions, be it SAP S4HANA, SAP ECC, SAP SuccessFactors, SAP Ariba. So any solutions or SAP BTP, we discussed about SAP BTP, being utilized, business technology platform being utilized for most of the use cases, like if you're planning to go for a dealer portal or a supplier portal or any customized portal, so or a low code, no code platform. So we have those expertise. We can help you there as well. Thanks a lot.
Right, thank you, Grant Thornton, for that. And with that, we've reached the last session for the evening before we break for dinner and drinks. And to take us to that, we have Mr. Rohit Bhalla, Training and Adoption Lead, SAP APJ. Ladies and gentlemen,
what is the success behind the digital transformation formula today? If we look at, very interestingly, if you look at, this is how we probably put it. Let's see how's this intelligent racing, the race, how are they won? Yes, you need the best of machines. The Ferraris, the Benz, you need the best of machines, no doubt about that. But at the same time, you need intelligent teams, drivers, engineers, whatever, to actually win those races. Very similarly put, how do you become intelligent enterprises? Definitely you invest in us, the SAP, the best of the applications. But if you don't look at this side of the stuff, which is intelligent people, for sure we are bound to fail. I think that is where we look at project teams, core teams, the business users, the guys who are using the software. I think it's very critical that we do invest in that, and especially cloud world. This is something which we as SAP can help you to address this once you have invested in the solution, once you have invested in the whole project. Where we have something called Learning Hub, which is like a Netflix. It's a cloud solution which has all the content in its repository. So whatever you are probably have procured, Learning Hub solves the problem or pain point of the skilling or upskilling which is required. Second solution, which talks about very briefly, again is purely focused on the end user. It creates content. It is a context sensitive help, which is probably at a click of your finger, wherever you're stuck, your user is stuck, whatever process he is doing, he's stuck up, he clicks in, he gets whatever in Word format, PDF, video, just to help him to get the process moving further. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, Rohit, and making sure the point is made quickly, succinctly, and precisely. And we are all now free to go continue these conversations over our networking dinner. Ladies and gentlemen, huge round of applause for Gurugram and all those of you who showed up for this evening. It's been a full house. If you see, the whole room is full, and some of them are already going off for their dinner and drinks. So please requesting all of you to continue over there and continue the conversation. Thank you so much for being with us.